Okay, so this will be the third video in a group of 4 videos for the Universal Joint Assembly. This video is going to focus specifically on page 2 or 3 on this drawing. I'm going to show you how to get these in there just because of the section views. I'm going to leave drawing number 3 alone and let you do those on your own because those are just simply straight up views with our dimensions and titles and our masses. I'll go through this one and leave that last one to you guys. Okay, so with that said, first thing you have to realize is the B border. You should know that based upon the amount of material on there. There's no way we could put this on a standard A border. So we are going to be using a GHSB inch border. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and slide this over. Get my SolidWorks up and running here. Start with a file new. GHSB, middle of the third row, and say OK. Now, I'm going to start in here. I may have to actually open up some parts. It looks like I will because I have all the other ones in here. In this case, I'm going to have to go ahead and browse for my stuff. I'm going to go ahead and to the folder. I'm going to bring in my crank arm. Say open. This one's pretty standard. It's just a front, top, right side view. So I'm going to go front, top. I'm going to do preview. Hidden lines are going to be on. Scale for all these are going to be as indicated. So this one will be at a 1:1 according to the note. So I'll go up here to 1:1, and then I'm going to come up here in this left-hand corner, and approximately about right here, left click, pull up, pull to my right, pull an isometric. Maybe, there we go. I'm going to hit escape. Now as I go along, I'm just going to kind of adjust each of these views as I move, make sure I have the color on them. You can do with or without black lines, it's your call. I'll do this one with, just so I want to see the holes. And I'm also going to make sure I get rid of all excess black lines here with a crossing window and delete. All right, as I do this, I want to make sure I have all my center marks in here. I'm missing one. I need one on that circle. That takes care of there. Double check I have all the center marks I need here. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to just adjust this down a little bit, give me some space. And then I'm just going to do the old trick of copying and pasting my notes from the PDF file, Control-C. And adding in my notes on the drawing with a Control-V. Remember to highlight, center, underline the title. Okay, so that view is pretty much done except for dimensions. We'll get to that in a moment. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bracket over here. So again, I'm going to go to Drawing, Model View, Browse. I'm going to go down here and look for my bracket. Open. Start with my front view, my preview. Hidden lines are on, and scale according to the title is at 1:2. I'm going to start here with a front view, a right side over here, a top view here, isometric here. Again, I'm going to prep all these. I'm going to go ahead with my isometric first and give it color. Black lines is fine. Go ahead and delete that extra line. Okay, just check that all my center marks are there. This looks good. But I'm also going to copy the note from the PDF file. Control copy. I'm going to go over here and do my annotation, my note tool, and underneath put a Control-V. I will center that, highlight the top line, and underline. Hit my check mark. Okay, so there is my note underneath. All right, so in this case, I'll probably have to pull this up a little bit more, and I'll pull that just to give myself a little more space. Looks pretty decent. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the crank knob up here and then the crankshaft down here. So now I'm going to go to Drawing, Model View. I'm going to go here to my Browse. I'm going to find my crank knob. I want a scale there of 1:1, so I'm going to go again to Hidden Lines On. I'm going to go Use Custom Scale, drop this down, and change it to 1:1. And then I'm basically going to drop just a front view, a top view, and an isometric and hit Escape. Okay, the last view is a section cut, so I'm going to add color to this view here. I'm going to, oops, move that back, highlight that line and delete it. I'll go ahead and add this note real quick. I'm going to do the copy, Control C. Go to my annotation and do a note. Drop the note underneath and do a Control V. Center this. Highlight this top line and underline. Green check mark. Okay, so that is okay there. Now I have one more view. I need to split this down the middle to create a section view over here. So under your drawing, if you go to the word section and we choose vertical section, which is already highlighted, I'm just going to attach a section right here in the middle, left click, green check mark, and pull to my right. Now this should be capital A. So over here at this top line, caps lock, capital A. Okay, that looks good. I'll also highlight and get rid of that line there. And now I have section AA done. I'll pull this down a little bit and we'll add our dimensions on here. But before I leave this one, I do want to add in my center marks. Okay, these are a little bit unique, so let's go back through that process of making the small center marks. I turn on my center mark tool. I'm going to click on this arc here and this arc here, here and here. But these are all too big. So I'm going to come over here to the left and get rid of the document defaults and the extended lines. And hit my check mark. Okay, now I just have to add dimensions on that, and we'll get that done in a second. Last but not least, I'm going to do my crankshaft over here. Same concept as up here. We will have a section view. So I'm going to do a front, top, right, and an isometric view. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead to Drawing, Model View, Browse, Crankshaft. Open. This should be at a scale of 1 to 1. So I'm going to go over here, Hidden Lines On, Custom Scale, 1 to 1. Now, from here, I'm going to do a front view. I'm going to do a bottom view. I'm going to do a right side view way over here. And I'm going to do an isometric view here. Hit Escape. Isometric view will kind of be right in between the views. I'm going to add color to that. Okay, either way, I'm going to go without the black lines. I'll turn the black lines on this. I'm just going to kind of make it look nice and clean. I'll do the same thing up here. Take the black lines off. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to get rid of, those extra lines, the little crossing window. Put that right about there. That looks good. This looks good. Okay, I'm going to move this a little bit more over. And then there's going to be another one of these over here where it's slightly tilted up. So I'm actually going to go in. I need to open up. So I'm going to go to my SOLIDWORKS here and do a file open. I need to open up my crankshaft. If I can find it. Wait. Bracket. Got all this stuff on my screen. This is not good. Organization, crankshaft, and open. Now all I'm going to do is use my up arrow key. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave it right there. Control Tab. I'm going to go back to the drawing, which is this right here. Go to Model View. Go to your crankshaft again. So right here, crankshaft. But this time I'm going to say in current model view with color. That's all I need at a scale of 1 to 1. And then I'm just going to drag it right next to this other one. And that's all you need. So now I can see the pocket underneath. Okay, I'll slide that over just a little bit. Slide this one over just a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same little trick. I'm going to copy the note from over here on the PDF file. Control Copy. Go to my annotation and my note tool. Drop this in between and do a Control V. Centered. Top line underlined. And put it in between. Alright. Now I'm going to have to create a little bit more space. So I need to slide this one up a little bit higher. I need to move all this up a little bit higher. Move this up. That looks better. I need to take these two things up here and move this up here. Okay, move that right in between. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing I did up here. I'm going to do a section through here, cut it in half, and put this right here. So I'm going to go up and say, all right, Drawing, Section, Attach, green check mark, and put right in between, and change this from letter C to letter B, and check. slide this down a little bit. So I'm going to put some dimensions in there and call this part good. So if I hit my F key, there is the setup of my drawing. Okay, I do need to add in, a couple of those center marks again. So I'm going to go to Annotation, Center Mark, click on all my arcs. They're too big, so I go over and take the document defaults off and extended lines off and check. And now I'm ready to come in and add my dimensions. Now there is a fast trick to this. I can get most of my dimensions on here relatively quickly. I can go up to Model Items, Entire Model. I'm going to pick all these boxes except for the first one, and then hit my check mark. And what you're going to see is it added dimensions to all these. Now, obviously they're not perfect, but at least got the ball rolling. Okay. Now, one of the things I want to do is I want to change all these decimal places. I'm going to go ahead and default them to 2 places, since that's what I mostly see on the answer key, and then I'll change the ones I have to 3. So to change your decimal places, I'm going to go down to IPS in the corner here and do an Edit Document Units. The length inches 1, 2, 3, I would like you to drop this down to 1, 2. Okay. And now all of your dimensions are in 2 decimal places. So I'm going to kind of work from the top like I put them in and work my way around. So this 3 I'm going to get rid of. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that 6. I don't need that. The 0.25 looks good, but I'm going to go here and add the 3 on this top like so. So this view is done. I'm going to add the 0.75 to right there, so that view is done, and get rid of this one. Okay, this 0.5 is good, but the only thing I got to add in is the THRU. Come back to this one here. I'm going to pull it the other way. I'm going to change this to 4 decimal places, 0.1234. And then in here, I'm going to put my cursor in the front and go 7 space X. And then behind this, space THRU. Whoops, RU. Okay, 7 times 0.1875 through. All right, I'm going to pull this dimension to my left. I'm going to make that 3 decimal places. Put the 0.5 up in between. And then push this 0.25 over here and add in my TYP. I'm actually going to flip the arrowheads on this. No, this. Like so. Okay. I think. Maybe. Maybe I'll take it this way. That'll work. We'll go with it. Okay. So there's those numbers there. Okay. Coming over this way, I see it's 0.19. I'm going to move this up. Kind of in line with those, but make it 0.1875, 4 decimal places. Take this 0.375, kind of pull it to the right here, and make that 3 decimal places. And then add a dimension from here to here, oops, from here to there of 0.375. I'll flip that to the inside and make it 3 decimal places. All right, so this entire view is complete. That looks good. Everything fits in the right place. I'll take this crank arm title and move it up a little bit so I can get a little bit more space. Oops. A little bit more space right there. That looks good. Okay. Now, move my way down to here. Look at this view. Okay. That looks good. This is right. I'm going to add the THRU at the end. That's good. I'll add a dimension from this center to here of 0.75. And now this view, except for this needs to go away, is done. Okay, coming down to here, I'm going to hit this top line. There's my 1.5, and I'll flip those arrows to the inside. That's done. So these 2 views are finished. I'm going to take this 140 here and crank it way, way down so it sits somewhere right in there. Grab this. Now, to make this so it doesn't have 2 zeros, okay, you can take this to none. So it should be 140. Okay, I'm just going to put it right about there. That looks good. The 0.25, I'm going to get rid of this one here. I'll add it up here. I'll put it like I have it in my drawing. And add the TYP here. That will finish that. The 2.5 looks good. This right here we'll change to 3 decimal places, and we'll put a TYP on it. I will take the 1.251 here, kind of flip it, see if I can get it to work. If it doesn't go all the way in, I don't know why it's not reaching in there. That's okay. I will just go ahead and get it like this, see if I can flip that around. You may have to move it a few times. I'm just going to change that to 0.125. If that doesn't work, as long as the arrow's pointing that direction, I'll be fine. Okay, 375 is good. 2.09 should be 3 decimal places. I'm going to move that up a little bit to 2.091. 3.45 looks good. Put that down there. And now this view is completely and totally done. The other way. Okay, so I'm going to move this up just a tad bit more and give me a little space on my title. We will come back, or you will come back and add in your masses here. Do not leave the X's. Okay, so now this half of the drawing is completely and totally done. I'll go over here up to the crank knob. Okay, I'm going to add my dimensions. Now there should be no dimensions on this view here at all. So I'm going to go ahead and take all these off. I should have 1 dimension up here on this. I'm going to put that right here at 1.25. That works good. And then I'm going to come and work on this one here. Okay, so I'm going to take this line at the top. That's going to be 0.88, but I'm going to change that to 3 decimal places. I'm going to hit this curve right here. Pull that up. It says 0.19. That is 4 decimal places. Okay, this 0.625, that should be 3 decimal places. And then I'm going to do from the bottom to the top, and actually I can go and take this and just move it over and change it to 3 decimal places. That's done. I'm going to go ahead and dimension this arc right here. Flip that arrowhead. Okay, like so. 0.25. I've got 0.09. I'm actually going to get rid of these both. I'm going to move my section view a little bit lower and out of the way. And then I'm simply going to go in here and say, okay, this line here is 0.1875, 4 decimals. From here, from this point here to this point here. Pull that down, pull this to the right, and this should be 0.375, 0.123. Okay, so crank knob is all done. All this is taken care of. That looks good. All my dimensions are final. Okay, now looking at this. All right, let's start on this bottom. This right here gives me an indication. I should change that to 4 decimals for 0.0625. And I want to dimension this inside hole to, and I'm going to actually change that. I'm going to right click on it, and I want to go to display options and display as diameter. Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to get rid of this 45, get rid of this 0.3. I'm going to keep this here, but I'm going to drag that a little bit closer, bring this in a little bit closer, and change this to 4 decimal. Okay, so that view is done. We'll take this view here, slide over a little bit more. The 0.09375, slide that over, bring it in a little bit tighter, and add in the THRU. 0.25 looks good. I will add in from this edge to here the 0.375. Keep it in the middle for right now. 0.123. That view is now done. Looks good. Moves over a little bit more. That looks good. Okay, and now I'm going to finish up on this view. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this, one of these 0.5s. I'm going to delete it off. I'll drag this over to the other side and flip my arrow to the inside. Slide this back over just a little bit more. This 0.625 I'm going to bring over to the other side. I'm going to actually drag this to that corner. Change this to a 0.625 with a 3 decimal pop here. Bring the 1.5 over. That allows me to slide this again back over a little bit more. That looks good. And the 0.5 here looks good. This I'm going to delete, move this section down a little bit more. Put that up right there. And I'm going to finish off with a dimension from this edge here to this edge here. Put that inside. Okay, move that section B up. Move this crankshaft up a little bit higher so it's like right there. So let me maybe move this over. Move this up right there. Okay, this 0.25 needs to go away, so I'm going to take this and delete it off. I'm going to finish that part with a simple from line here to line here, 0.5. And then I'm going to finish off with a note tool that's going to connect right to there. I'm going to use a bent leader. I like to get in the practice of that. And in that, I'm going to type in the following, 0.03125, space X, 45, and then over here to the left by the anchor, CL plus, 45-degree chamfer. And then I'm just going to hit the green check mark. Okay, so now all of these things are in order. I'm going to take this and slide over a little bit more. Just give myself a little bit more room. As you can see, there's a lot to it. Slide this over just a little bit. That gives me a nice amount of room there so this is not crowded. And so there we go. So there is the finished dimension drawing. Now the last piece of this is getting your page numbers and all this correct. I am expecting you to change this to 2 of 3. Okay, this will change to as indicated. Slide that in. You will put your first initial last name here. I'm going to grab and put it in the middle. You're going to put the date. The period. Corrected by me. And then you're going to change your title from place the title here. Double click and put bracket, comma, crank arm, comma, crank knob, and symbol crank shaft. Pull this down just so I can see it. Back up just a little bit. Crankshaft. Now this is too big, so I'm going to actually click on that. I can change the fonts. I can go in here and change the font size from 14 down to 12. That will work. Okay, there we go. As soon as you're done with that, make sure you do a file save. Give it a name, save all. Yes to update all your views. Give it a name. I'm just going to call this, what is this called? Universal, what is this? Universal joint? Yeah, Universal Joint Assembly, page 2. And save. Okay, now, I don't want you to turn this in individually. You're going to take this, you're going to finish page 3, you're going to take page 1, you're going to staple them in order when we're done. So this one, just save, and at this point, you need to start working on your own on this one. These are nothing more than front, top, and right side views with isometrics. You can do your model items, add in your notes and materials and all your masses, and then again, title block and save. You will do this on your own. The next video I will show you in the series, the last of the series, will be actually the assembly and putting the final assembly and bill of materials together in a drawing. At this point, I'm done with videos. Good luck with this. If you have any questions, you don't hesitate to ask. Otherwise, use the video to your advantage. Good luck. Take care.